Hello, my name is Snow White, and today I'm going to read for you Edward the Non-Mockingbird by Megan Merley. At the end of a quiet, shady street, perhaps one that you know yourself, there was a great oak tree. It was a beautiful old tree, tall and high, with thick brown branches that stretched to the sky. The perfect place to build a nest, every bird thought. Mr. and Mrs. Mockingbird built their home on the third branch from the top. They built it very snug and safe and warm, for they were expecting a brood of baby hatchlings in the spring. Just as the first green shoots began to peek themselves out from their buds, all the eggs hatched. Mr. and Mrs. Mockingbird welcomed 3 new chicks into their family: Michael, Sophie, and last and littlest of all, Edward. The time passed by swiftly, and just as summer started to stretch the days long and balmy, Father Mockingbird decided that it was time that he taught his little ones everything there was to know about being a mockingbird. First came flying lessons, then learning which berries and bugs were good to eat, and the proper way to build a nest. One day, Sophie, ever the curious one, had a question. "Father," she said, "what is it that mockingbirds do? Aside from building nests and eating berries and flying, I mean."
"Why, Sophie, my dear," Father chirped, "that's the subject of our next lesson. We mock, of course. Mockingbirds are very special because we can imitate the calls and songs of many different birds. If you like, I'll take you all out today and practice."
"Hooray!" said Michael and Sophie, but Edward didn't say a word. Father took them here and there, all about the neighborhood, to listen to all manner of bird calls and songs. Over the next few days, Sophie became very good at copying the songs of Mr. Lark, Mr. Finch, Mrs. Nightingale. Michael was nearly an expert at imitating Mr. Jay, Mrs. Cardinal, and even old Mr. Owl up the street. Edward, however, still didn't say a peep. Later that night, after all the other hatchlings had gone to bed, Edward's parents pulled him aside. "Edward, my dear," said Mother, "why is it that you don't try and mimic other birds like your father and brother and sister do? Is it because you're afraid that you won't be very good?"
"You shouldn't worry about that, my son," Father laughed. "Everyone is a little shaky when they start mimicking. Why, I remember my first mock. Don't worry, Ed. No need to be nervous. That's it, isn't it? You're nervous."
But Edward merely shook his head. "Well then," said Mother, "you haven't found a song you like well enough to copy. Some mockingbirds will only mock certain songs, the most beautiful songs in the whole wide world, and they're very hard to find. Is that why you won't open your beak?" "No, that's not it at all," Edward chirped softly and looked at his feet.
"Well, don't worry, son," Father said heartily. "Tomorrow, you and I will go out and practice extra hard. You'll be the best mocker around, I promise."
Edward simply sighed and hopped off to bed. Father kept his promise. Together, he and Edward spent the whole day flying about, listening to other birds and practicing. At his father's prompting, Edward was very good at trilling and chirping and calling, just like all the other birds in the neighborhood. Father was very pleased.
"Come on, son. Let's go home and show your mother what a talented little mocker you've become." When they got home, the whole family gathered round to hear Edward mimic. "Go on then, Eddie," Father beamed. "Go ahead and show your mother what you've learned." Edward stepped forward, took a deep breath, and let it out in a long sigh. "No, Father." "What did you say, son?" "No, Father, I don't want to." "What? What?" Father cried. "After all my hard work? After all the patience I gave you, Edward, you refuse to mock?" Edward looked at the floor. "I'm sorry, Father, but yes, I don't want to mock." "Go to your room, young bird, and do not come out again until you are feeling less contrary." "Now scoot," Father said angrily, and Edward sadly fluttered away. "I don't know what's gotten into him," Mother cried. "A mockingbird that will not mock? Who ever heard of such a thing?" "He's just being difficult," Father groused. "Yeah," Michael echoed, folding his wings in front of him. They had just agreed that they were all very disappointed when Sophie heard something. "Wait! Listen!" she cried. "Do you hear that? It's Edward! He's singing!" It was true. Outside on a branch a few feet above their heads, Edward sat perched and singing the perfect, strangest, saddest little tune that any of them had ever heard. It sounded like all the songs and all the calls of every bird in the world were singing together in Edward's warbly little voice. "My stars, Edward!" Father exclaimed as they all rushed out to meet him. "Why didn't you ever sing for us before?" "That was stupendous! I've never heard anything like it." "Me either," Mother said. "Or me," said Sophie and Michael, running out together. "Why didn't you tell us?" Edward looked at each of them and sighed. "Well, everyone," he said shyly, "the reason I never sang before is because I didn't want to sing just any old song. I don't want to mock other birds' songs. I want to sing one that is all my own. It seems prettier and much more special that way, I think." "It seems that way to us too," Father said, picking Edward up and hugging him tight. "We're sorry, son. You are right. A song you can call your own is much better than copying someone else's any day. Sing your song all you want, my son, and don't let anyone make you stop." "Don't worry, Papa," Edward said with a grin. "I certainly won't. And you know what? Neither should you. We all have a song to sing. Sing yours loud and proud and strong, just like Edward." The end. That was Edward the Non-Mockingbird by Megan Merley.